Looking at NFL.com, a piece, 11 boom or bust free agent ideas. This is Matt Okada of NFL.com. And Malik Willis is on this list. Evans is on this list as a potential boom or bust. Hendrickson, Alec Pierce, Tariq Woolen, Joey Bosa. And the name at the bottom, I guess I didn't realize he was a free agent. I should have put him on my radar. Nakobe Dean of the Eagles, linebacker. Boy, the Bills could certainly be in the market there, right?
Yeah, good player. He's short. It's like 5'10" at the position. But he's good. He's good.
He missed the Bills-Eagles game here.
Yeah, he had injuries from like October on or November on yesterday or last year. That'd be that would be the type of signing I mentioned earlier, like for our bet. That if they signed Nakobe Dean, I'm not crossing it off. Am I crossing off linebacker for how long? First 2 rounds, if they do something like that?
Maybe.
Tremaine Edmonds is also on the trade market. He's been given permission to seek a trade. That was reported yesterday, too. And as Sal said with us, he thinks Edmonds fits much better into the type of defense the Bills play now than the type of defense that they used to play. I don't think he'll be cheap, though, even to the new team. He's got 1 year left on his deal.
Yeah, if you trade for him...
And he's amazingly still only 27 years old, which I know surprised nobody because we always used to joke about that.
If you trade for him, you're extending him because he's on the final year. That's if the Bears do that. The Bears could also just cut him. And
they could.
Save money. 803-0550, our phone number. Happy Friday. It's the week. Is it the weekend? It's the weekend.
Yeah, you're dealing with that a little this morning.
I am dealing with that. I got a call from home because last night I told my son that, tomorrow starts the weekend. And my wife called and said, you have to tell him he still has to go to school. Because he thought it was no school weekend. I was no.
It's a great job by him.
Friday is the weekend.
You got to take that and run with it.
Friday is the weekend. Even though you're going to school on a Friday begins the weekend after school. The weekend fully hits, but Friday is the weekend.
I was told, if I'm him, that tomorrow is weekend. That means the whole day is the weekend.
Right.
I'm not going to school.
He's 4, and he's making these arguments. Dad said it's the weekend. So I might have made a mistake there. John in Detroit. Hey, John.
Hey, how you guys doing? Can you hear me? I'm working out.
Yeah, go ahead.
You're good.
Yeah, I just wanted to push back a little bit, and there's a lot of segments of your guys' shows and talking points I agree with, but I hear this all the time about the Bills roster isn't good, or they have just pretty good players, and that's just not true. There was games after the Carolina and Pittsburgh game that were outside of the greatness of Josh Allen. Like, Allen didn't do anything, and they completely dominated those games. Those are 2 playoff teams.
Hold on.
Who are?
Carolina and Pittsburgh, playoff teams. And by the way, I think anybody's saying the roster is not good.
I think it's debatable.
The roster's definitely good.
I don't think it's one of the best tight end rooms in the NFL. Based on analytics, Kincaid was the number 1 graded tight end. Not only is it one of the top 3 offensive lines, it's probably the deepest offensive line in the NFL. We all know how great Josh Allen is. James Cook, if you want to use all pros and pro holes, James Cook is one of the top 3, 4, 5 running backs in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Ed Oliver, when he's healthy, is extremely dynamic. So it's just like when I saw, if you want to say Christian Benford's a pretty good player, ask Jamar Chase if he's a pretty good player. It's just, if you're comparing the Eagles roster, you brought up Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell. Max Hurston got hurt. Christian Benford is in that tier.
And neither of those two have been near what those two did last year, first team All-Pro.
Because Max Harrison was hurt.
Okay, if you think he was going to be one of the 2 best corners in football last year if he stayed healthy, I don't think he was on his way to being that.
Do you think Christian Benford is a top 5 or 6 corner in the league?
Probably.
He's on the fringe of that, but again, these are not. This is not what we're talking about with Quinyon Mitchell.
6th to 10th, I don't know. He's not an All-Pro. He's good. He's very good.
He's a good player. Yeah.
I think he's a little bit better than good.
Then he's very good.
Okay, so the roster is not average. They don't just have pretty good players. I just laid it out for you. That's just not true.
Well,
I mean, the only person that you laid out that is one of the best players at his position in the league is James Cook.
Well, the other thing, the best tight end room in football, first off, they're trying to figure out what they're going to do with Dawson Knox in the future. And due respect to Jackson Hawes, he's a nice player. Kincaid's a guy that's very good that doesn't stay healthy over multiple seasons. Their line is very good. It is set to lose 2 pieces. And their defense needs like 6 pieces maybe. Like, I don't know. If you're going to call and say, I think it's pretty good. Like, well, I don't know. Maybe Joe's not arguing the roster is good.
I think their roster...
The GM called it a championship caliber roster, and I just don't get the sense that anybody in the league agrees with that. They know that they have the best quarterback, but the idea that they're a championship roster... Who is it? Well, I don't know. What is a championship roster? New England didn't have a championship roster, and they played for the championship.
Right.
So, I don't know. Like, these are all labels and titles. And any team can look at... There are 53 players on your team. And how many teams can rattle off 8 and say, that guy's good? That guy's better than people think. We could do the better than people think, or we could just do the actual results of, like, all right, how many All-Pros, how many this or that. The Bills haven't had return on investment on defensive line. And whatever, like, it's about what you get for what you pay. I don't know. I guess, John, I don't really know what you're arguing. If you're calling to say it's better than we think, okay. I don't think it's as good as maybe you think. So if we can find a spot in the middle, in between.
And I do think that is ultimately where they land, which is not what the GM said, a championship roster. To me, that would be something that is filled with amazing players where I don't have to debate whether he's the 7th best at his position in the league. A guy that is just definitively, no, he's like one of the best. We're debating if he's the best. That was Diggs when he was here.
Yeah. Well,
Diggs was, what was the argument about how good he was? Is he the number 1 receiver in football? And that was for multiple years. And that does exist with James Cook. You're right to bring him up. I don't think there's another player on the roster where that's true. Benford is the 19th highest paid corner in football. Like, I'm not saying he's that bad. I think he is better than that. But to compare him to the Eagles guys, that Quinyon Mitchell walked into the football and he's in the conversation right now as he's the best corner in football. And I like Christian Benford a lot. He's not in that conversation.
I like Benford. I think Benford's
a good player.
Very good. He had a rough start to the season, but then got a little healthier, and he's very good.
I think they are an average roster. I think they are a team that has a lot of good players, and that makes them, to me, a roster that is way better than Tennessee or the New York Jets or the Browns. Like, I do think they have a better roster than a lot of those bad teams in the league. I do. But I don't think their roster, because of the lack of star power and elite level players, is on the same par with teams like Seattle, who won the Super Bowl, and Philadelphia, who won the Super Bowl the year before that. And when you have this quarterback, sorry, but that's your standard.
Yeah, I mean, he brings you along part of the way there. I guess, John, you're still on hold. I'm going to ask you a question because I'd like to offer this. If you do think it's a great roster, which let's just accept that for a moment. Do you think they should trade up into the draft for one finishing piece? Because if they've got a lot of good pieces, like, why not go all the way in?
Well, that's a kind of a false question because you're projecting about the needs they have this year. We're talking about what they've had the past, I don't know.
When we're talking about now, what we're talking about is now, the team they are now.
Well, right now, I would say, yes, they're one of the better rosters. They have one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. That's not debatable.
Well, first off, they only have 60% of that line under contract currently, and the 2 of the pieces really might leave. So
okay, but you have to give Brandon Beane credit for that. Is that true?
Yeah, yes, of course.
Yes, I like their line.
It's one of the best tight end rooms in the NFL. The analytics for Kincaid said he was.
John, you've already said these things. I asked you a question. What do you want to do about it now? What should they do? What should this offseason be about?
I think they have 3 or 4 holes like every team does, and they need to fill those holes in free agency in the draft. Right, they have pillars of players.
What move do you want to see?
I think the pass rush needs to be improved.
All right. Thank you. Yeah, I agree. Their pass rush is among the worst in the league. That's a glaring hole. It's the thing that they've been seeking for years, and they've tried every which way. They've tried big free agent contract, which I think Vaughn was a good idea, but he got hurt. I don't think you can pin that on Brandon Beane. You could say he was more likely to get hurt because he was older, sure. But I liked the Vaughn idea. When he was healthy, he was great, and then he was just not healthy anymore. And the tight end thing, like, man.
Yeah, I don't agree with the tight end thing.
Like the best tight end room in the league, I don't know. That gets said a lot. Kincaid is one of the more efficient tight ends in the league. I'd like to see him get the ball more. I'd like to see him be on the field more. I'd like to find ways to just have him be more a part of the offense because he does appear to be good to great. Knox is a guy in the league that's been paid way too much. Pro Football Talk referred to his contract as tough, that the Bills are trying to work on his tough cap number. He had the second highest cap number on the Bills last year, and they got to figure out what to do there. And Jackson Hawes, I don't know, really, Jackson Hawes ends up sounding like I hate Jackson Hawes, which I don't. He's a nice role player, but a fifth-round blocking tight end, how hard is that for a team to get?
I think their tight end room is good. Here's how I would put it quickly. I think they have the capability of being one of the best tight end rooms in football.
Is that with or without Dawson Knox? With on a cheaper salary?
With or with not. Doesn't even matter to me about Knox. To me, it all comes down to, can Dalton Kincaid be a player that is on the field 3/4 of the time? If he can, then they can have one of the best tight end rooms in football. If he can't, they don't.
Yeah, what are they going to do with Kincaid? Not Kincaid. Kincaid, they're going to pick up the fifth-year option. Good. Hope he stays healthy. He appears to be very, very good. But the other two, Hawes is a guy, and Knox is, right now, very much to be determined. 803-0550. Thanks, John, for the phone call. 1-888-550-2550. I just feel like if you think they have a championship caliber roster, then they should trade next year's first, move up, get somebody great, and go win the thing a couple times if they're that good.